Chapter 2. I'll just read some of the passages that kind of stood out to me. 6 weeks after Anna Pavlovna's soiree, which had resulted in the agitated, sleepless night when he had decided that a marriage with Ellen would be a calamity, and that he ought to avoid her and go away, Pierre still had not moved from Prince Vasili's. Hardly a day passed without an evening party at which Pierre was obliged to be present. If he did not wish to spoil, that is, the general pleasure and disappoint everyone. Prince Vasili, in those rare moments when he was at home, would take Pierre's hand in passing and, drawing him down, absent-mindedly offered his wrinkled, clean-shaven cheek to kiss, saying, "I'm staying home on your account," and so on. And though when he did stay in for Pierre's sake, as he said, he hardly exchanged 2 words with him. He, Pierre, tried to come to a decision. But he felt with dismay that in this instance he lacked the strength of will which he had known in himself, and which he really did possess. And here I found this next sentence or two interesting. Pierre was one of those people who are strong only when they feel that they are absolutely pure. And since that day, he had been overpowered by a feeling of desire while bending over the snuff box at Anna Pavlovna's. An unconscious sense of the guilt of that passion paralyzed his will. Pierre felt that he was the center of it all, and his position both pleased and embarrassed him. He was like a man absorbed in some activity. He neither heard, saw, nor understood anything clearly. I think that sentence almost sums up this whole chapter or series of chapters. He neither heard, saw, nor understood anything clearly. You know, this is true of Prince Vasili, it's true of Pierre, which are the main characters we see most. Ellen, again, you know, we don't see a lot except from other people observing Ellen, mostly. Only now and then fragments of thoughts and impressions of reality flashed unexpectedly into his mind. And he's being drawn in more and more to this marriage with Ellen. Now he felt that it was obligatory, but he could not make up his mind to take this final step. He felt ashamed. It seemed to him that he was occupying someone else's place here beside Ellen. So again, he's conflicted within himself, Pierre is. And here's another interesting thing about Prince Vasili. "Well, Ola," he asked, instantly addressing his daughter in that casual tone of habitual tenderness natural to parents who have pampered their children from infancy, but which Prince Vasili had acquired only by imitating other parents. I found that insightful. And this is further on. "All this had to be and could not have been otherwise," thought Pierre. "So it's useless to ask whether it is good or bad. It is good in that it is definite, and there is no longer that tormenting doubt." "J'ai vu, ami," he said to Ellen, remembering what it was that had to be said on these occasions. But the words sounded so inadequate that he felt ashamed of himself. 6 weeks later he was married and settled in the large, newly furnished mansion of the Counts Podzukov in Petersburg, the fortunate possessor, as people said, of a beautiful wife and millions. Of course, it doesn't seem by reading this that he is so fortunate in another way. And his confusion, his shame, his conflicting thoughts within himself, and just seeing these characters of, I guess, Ellen and Prince Vasili primarily. You know, these just seem to be confused people, not seeing clearly either all that's going around them or clearly seeing themselves, all the various motivations and thoughts and convictions and intuitions they have, and or not having some sort of ability to sort of come to decision, as in Pierre's case. Prince Vasili, it seemed that these things come more quickly to him, but he is at the same time blind to many of his motivations as well. So, I don't know, just another interesting take on humanity, us mammals, not really having our shit together like we think we do. You kind of feel sorry for these characters. I guess I do, to some measure. Another measure, frustrated by them. Another measure, you know, sort of understanding. It's just like, oh, this is very much what people are, I think, in a lot of respects, and we kind of don't see it in ourselves so much as these characters are having trouble seeing clearly themselves. Well, interesting to see how this plays out, and especially in Pierre's case. Remember, he's, again, just a young man. I keep maybe saying that, not to excuse him, but just to kind of provide this context. You see Prince Vasili, an older man, a much older man, sort of having developed a pattern of dealing with life, and it has brought him some coherence, but he doesn't seem any less confused about himself. He just has this kind of way of going about things that sort of has been working.